So guys, we've been talking about it for a few weeks now, but finally update 1.8 Operation Breakaway for Insurgency Sandstorm is now live, which obviously means we've got a ton to talk about in this video. Most importantly, is it any good? Well guys, this is BillyEatWorld again, and let's find out. Alright guys, how you going? Welcome to the video, and like I said today, we're going to be going over some of my first impressions of the new update, Operation Breakaway. But just before we do get into that, I just want to give a big thank you to John over at New World Interactive, because he's actually given us a couple of Sandstorm game codes to give away. Now, if you do want a chance to win one of these codes, I'll be giving them away with the next few Insurgency videos. All you have to do is just subscribe and leave a comment on this video. But not just that, you might also want to head over and follow me on Twitter, because I'll be giving away more codes there as well. As always though, check the description for all the details. But anyway, with that out of the way, to kick off, if you've missed my last few Sandstorm videos, well, in a nutshell, Operation Breakaway is a new free update for the game. And basically, it's focused on a fictional coup d'etat scenario somewhere in the Middle East, where elements of the security forces have split off and joined the insurgency. And you can kind of see that in the design of the new map, which is called Tell, by the way. The devs weren't trying to recreate a war zone in this one. It's more like the aftermath of a protest or a riot. But most importantly, the theme of this update has allowed the devs to give the insurgent team a bunch more high-tech gear, which the community has been asking for quite a while now. But just before we do get into that, obviously the most important new addition in this update is the new map Tell, which you can see on screen now, which you might actually remember from back in the Insurgency 2014 days. Although I should mention this isn't a remake of that map, it's more of a reimagining. I mean, there's definitely some areas that are similar to the older map, but for the most part, the devs have reskinned and redesigned just about everything else. But in saying that, what it does carry over from the original Tell is that trademark super intense CQB combat, which honestly, I really think we need more of in this game. Now, as well as the new map, the other new main thing the devs have given us in this update are two new weapons, the FAMAS F1 for the Insurgent team and the AUG A3 for the security team. And on the surface, they kind of look like they should be pretty similar, right? They're both 5.56 caliber bullpup ARs, and they're both available to the Rifleman, the Demo, the Observer, and the Commander kits. But actually, when you take a look at the stats, they really couldn't be more different. Mainly, the AUG only fires at 600 RPM, whereas the FAMAS fires at an absolutely insane 1200 RPM. And not just that, but the FAMAS only has a 25 round capacity with no extended mags option. So in other words, you'll run completely dry by holding the trigger in for only 1.25 seconds. Now, since the last video I made when these guns hit the CTE, I've actually had a fair bit more time to try them out, most importantly on decent ping servers. And look, it seems like most people are starting to come to the conclusion that probably the FAMAS is a bit better than the AUG. It just melts people in close quarters, and that's kind of hard to beat, especially on maps like this. The big drawback though is, like I mentioned earlier, it burns through its ammo so quickly, and it obviously kicks pretty hard as well. Obviously the AUG is going to be a bit better for longer ranges. But really, even though it probably fits into some sort of niche here, I really think the main role of the AUG is to be the easy gun for newer players, or a cheap gun for those crazy loadouts where you just want to forget your weapon and spend all of your supply points on explosives. Now, still on the topic of weapons, but moving on slightly, probably the most impactful thing that's been added in this update, I think, is actually a bunch of new weapon attachments. Firstly, and probably least importantly, the AUG has two new scopes that aren't available on any other gun, which admittedly aren't that great, but obviously still worth mentioning. On the other hand, though, one of the main highlights of this update is that it's added in underbarrel shotguns, the M26 Mass, the Master Key, and the Buckshot Launcher. which basically are kind of like an alternative to using a pistol as a secondary weapon, and a really easy way to add some close quarters capability to long range loadouts. Once again though, as cool as the underbarrel shotguns probably are, I actually don't think they are going to influence the meta that much, probably because of the other underbarrel attachments the devs have added in this update. Because the devs have actually decided to rename the original foregrip the recoil grip, and they've added a bunch of other new foregrips that do different things as well. These buff everything from reload speed to draw time, but most importantly, there's a new grip called the aiming grip, which increases ADS speed, which in my opinion is absolutely huge. It's kind of opened up a lot of new possibilities for run and gun loadouts, which, as you know, is the style of gameplay I absolutely love in FPS games. Now, all of that stuff we actually kind of already knew about during the CTE, but the main thing we haven't had a chance to talk about yet is the new cosmetics, which, to be honest, have created a bit of controversy in the community over the last few days, in particular when it comes to the new premium skins. I mean, if you take a look at the free skins and even the premium Urban Warden skin, they seem to be all right, kind of somewhere in between a military and a police SWAT team kind of look. But on the other hand, though, take a look at the new Insurgent Rogue Spec Ops skin. It's kind of stepping up the crazy level a bit, right? Now, believe it or not, as crazy as these new premium skins look, there's actually some realism behind them. The security skin is pretty clearly based on something Danish special forces would wear, and believe it or not, Iraqi special forces have actually been known to wear those skull masks as well. But obviously, bright red camo is still kind of pushing it in a realistic shooter game like this, and understandably, that's made some veteran players not too happy on the changes. So the question is then, what do you guys think? Do you think the devs made the right call in adding crazy cosmetics like this? Let me know what you think down below. But anyway, just before we finish up, we probably should talk about some of the other minor details that we've missed in the last few videos. Like, for example, still on the topic of cosmetics, we've finally got weapon skins in the game now. The Insurgent Urban Digital set and the Security Desert Hex set. Now, just like the character skins we spoke about before, both of these sets are premium only, and they're worth the same amount of money as well, roughly about $4.50 Australian. So obviously that's pretty interesting. It's opening the door for maybe new weapon skins in the future. It's just a shame that we didn't get any free ones this time as well. Also, finally, the last thing I really should mention is there's now also a new co-op game mode called Outpost, which is basically kind of like Insurgency's version of Call of Duty Zombies. In a nutshell, you start with limited supply points and you have to defend against waves of enemy attacks. And if you all die, then you fall back to the next defense point, and so on and so forth. Now, to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of co-op in this game, so I didn't really enjoy this mode that much. But look, I know a lot of you guys really do like co-op, so please, if you are someone that did enjoy Outpost, let me know what you think down below, and let me know how it compares to the other co-op game modes. Is this actually worth playing if you like fighting AI? But anyway, guys, to finish up, that's what Operation Breakaway is. But the question is it actually any good? And, well, at the end of the day, one map, 2 weapons, and a bunch of new attachments, well, that doesn't seem like a lot, but you've also got to remember it's free. Not just that, but the new map, for example, I think is a great step in the right direction for the game. I know a lot of people aren't going to like it, but I personally love that fast-paced CQB action. And it's nice to have head-to-head gunfights again in this game, rather than just getting deleted by campers from across the map. It's refreshing, even if it's not something you necessarily love all the time. Also, like I said, the big thing for me is actually the addition of those new grips. You guys know I was a huge fan of Battlefield 4, and a big part of that was the customization meta. And I think finally Sandstorm is getting to the same sort of level. It's nice to be able to go through and really optimize weapon loadouts in a shooter game again. But most importantly though, the FAMAS. Oh my gosh, wow. Such an iconic gun, and probably the most fun I've had with a gun in a shooter game for a long time. I mean, obviously it's not perfect, but it's so ridiculous that it's just addictive. And for me, on its own, that makes this update pretty memorable. But anyway, guys, that just about wraps up this quick review of Operation Breakaway. So like I said, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And of course, just remember that I can't possibly cover every single detail of these update posts in just one video. So as always, if you want to find out more, I'll leave all the links to the official posts in the description down below. As always, though, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and please feel free to check out the links in the description if you want to see any more of these videos. And also, don't forget you can find my Twitter and Discord links down there as well if you want to keep in touch. And as always, until next time, see you later, and have a good one.